Hello, I am Bert Janssen. Welcome to the final episode of the series of short videos in which I explain the book, The Organizing Principle, There Are No Coincidences. In this video, I will summarize all the previous 24 episodes and draw some intriguing conclusions. You can watch this video as a standalone, but for a better understanding, I recommend you watch all episodes leading up to this final video. In the earlier videos, I talked a lot about geometry and especially squaring the circle. But this video, this final video, I will start with Swiss psychiatrist and psychologist Carl Gustav Jung. After studying many years synchronistic events, Carl Gustav Jung made an observation that touches the core and essence of the organizing principle. For Jung, it was not only possible, but fairly probable even, that psyche and matter are two different aspects of one and the same thing. Let's have a closer look at this. Here you see the one and the same thing that generates synchronistic events. It lives outside our 3D reality, is not held by space, time or causality, and is connected to absolute knowledge. It has a non-physical aspect and a physical aspect, which come parallel into existence, but do not necessarily simultaneously percolate into our 3D reality. When both aspects do enter our 3D reality, we perceive them as separate, which is amplified by the fact that both aspects do not necessarily enter our 3D reality simultaneously or in a specific order. One can enter way ahead of the other. Once you become consciously aware of both aspects, the non-physical and the physical, we talk about a synchronicity. The two aspects, the non-physical and the physical, have a meaningful connection through the one and the same thing, but they do not have a causal connection, meaning you cannot say that one aspect is caused by the other aspect or the other way around. Think of an antique cannon. When a shot is fired, the cannonball can be seen flying and a loud bang can be heard. The flying of the cannonball and the loud bang are meaningful connected. But one cannot say that the one is causing the other one. You cannot say that the cannonball is flying because of the loud bang, or that the loud bang is sounding because the cannonball is flying. Still, both are meaningful connected. And in this case, the connection is gunpowder. The gunpowder is the one and the same thing. By igniting it, the cannonball flies and a loud bang sounds. Now, in case of the cannonball and the loud bang, we experience both of them more or less at the same time. With synchronistic events, this is usually not the case. The non-physical can appear first and only later the physical aspect. For instance, you think of a friend and moments later that friend calls. Or the other way around. the physical can precede the non-physical. First a card is drawn and then it is guessed. Since time and space are not relevant factors, situations can come about whereby, in our perception, effects work backwards in time. Our present impacting the past, and the future influencing the now, our present. But do realize that time is not a relevant factor, and it's only in our perception that this strange time effect happens. All synchronistic events are ruled and regulated by the organizing principle, which resides in the greater reality where also absolute knowledge lives. The synchronicities triggered by the organizing principle contain this absolute knowledge. In other words, synchronicities are always true. If they are not true, then they are not synchronicities, but just plain events. Although by now it should be clear, I still want to once more point out that synchronistic events are much more than just curious coincidences. While in Göteborg, Emanuel Swedenborg had a vision of a fire raging in Stockholm. This fire was truly happening, a perfect example of a synchronicity. Another example is Marinus Dijkshoorn, who had a vision of a man hanging himself in a barn, which 2 days later happened exactly as Dijkshoorn had seen it. All events that show a non-physical aspect, for instance the vision Swedenborg had, and a physical aspect, the fire Swedenborg saw, whereby the non-physical and the physical aspects have a meaningful connection, but not a causal connection, are synchronistic events. Best known are premonition, precognition and remote viewing, but also true visions and true inner knowing, true intuitions are cases of synchronicity. Our mind can be divided into 3 realms: the conscious, the subconscious and the unconscious. Everything that is happening with and around you, of which you are aware, is interacting with your conscious mind. All you're not aware of, but you could be, is held by your subconscious mind, while everything that happens and functions below the levels of conscious and subconscious awareness is held by the unconscious mind. The contents of this unconscious mind is always pure and true, and is known as absolute knowledge. No filtering, no interpretations, and no judgments. One flavor of synchronicities is the group whereby the physical precedes the non-physical. For instance, you suddenly know the answer or solution to a question or problem you were already carrying around with you. This is how Marinus Dijkshoorn helped the New York police in solving crimes. These crimes had already happened, and Dijkshoorn would see the perpetrators. And this is how I found my first crop circle back in 1994. Another flavor of synchronicities is the group whereby the non-physical precedes the physical. For instance, you have an intuition, an inner knowing, a vision in the now, while the physical aspect has still to enter our 3D reality in the future. Or to say it simple, you know what the future is going to bring. Like in 1995, when I saw the man in Marlborough, England, holding photos of crop circles before he had taken these photos out of his briefcase. According to Janssen, our future, or at least part of that future, is fixed and cannot be altered. This means that the physical aspect of the one and the same thing is partly a given, and with that the non-physical that came into existence parallel to the physical. But this non-physical can enter our 3D reality before the physical. This group of synchronicities can be extremely helpful in making the right decisions and right choices. The challenge is, though, that we are usually not aware of this non-physical aspect. Many synchronicities in our life are events whereby we spontaneously make a connection with our unconscious mind and let part of its timeless contents flow into our conscious mind. We become aware of the synchronicity. Although synchronicities happen usually spontaneously, you can influence the flow of absolute knowledge from the unconscious mind into the conscious mind by stimulating the organizing principle to take care of just that. One way to achieve this is by using the language the organizing principle is familiar with, and that is the language of shapes and geometries. At the core of these shapes and geometries used by the organizing principle is a mathematical phenomenon called squaring the circle. This is the combination of a square and a circle, whereby the perimeter of the square is identical to the circumference of the circle, or whereby the surface areas of the square and the circle are identical. Some people find this logical, because for them the square stands for the physical and the circle for the non-physical. True or not, fact is that it works, even on a subliminal level, meaning it functions below the levels of conscious and subconscious awareness. Being present in places where squaring the circle is hiding can stimulate and activate the organizing principle to let absolute knowledge flow from your unconscious mind into your conscious mind, making you aware of synchronicities. Your state of mind is crucial in all of this. If your state of mind is in the wrong place, none of the above will happen. As Carl Gustav Jung demonstrated with the mandalas of his patients, our state of mind can express itself in shapes and geometries. But, as we have seen, it also works the other way around. Shapes, geometries, and especially squaring the circle, the language of the organizing principle, can impact and influence our state of mind, even on a subliminal level. As I've shown many times, these shapes and geometries, and especially the powerful squaring the circle, can be found in crop circles, in Stonehenge, Avebury, in cathedrals like the Hagia Sophia, on squares like St. Peter's Square, and even in the landscape of England. Being in and at these places makes it very easy to open up to synchronicities. Visions will happen, spontaneous cases of remote viewing. You will see glimpses of your future, making it easy to make the right decisions. And you will meet, by coincidence, the right people at the right moment. This is the main reason why I organize tours to England, where so much of the above can be found. To sum it all up, there is an organizing principle regulating many things happening in our life. For instance, the occurrence of synchronicities. Best known are true inner knowing, true intuition, and true visions, or precognition, premonition, and remote viewing. And although all these can happen spontaneously, shapes, geometries, and especially squaring the circle, the language of the organizing principle, can, even on a subliminal level, help you to become quicker and better aware of these synchronicities. Being present in places where squaring the circle is hiding can help tremendously. Be it certain crop circles, ancient sites like Stonehenge or Avebury, more modern places like the Hagia Sophia and St. Peter's Square, or even the most modern constructions like at CERN. Knowing the existence and workings of the organizing principle is the first step towards success. Collaborating with the organizing principle is the second. The more you open your mind up to the potentiality of the organizing principle and the endless opportunities it generates, the more you will become aware of bits and pieces of the future, opening doors for you, so you can make the best decisions thinkable. It is all in your own hands. I wish you lots of success, and may the organizing principle be with you.